7 signs that you've got big cash flow issues. Hey, this is Andrew Houston from Profit for Contractors. We help contractors get more profit, more control, and more freedom out of their contracting business. And today I want to talk to you about this article that somebody wrote in the Electrical Business magazine. By the way, guys, great little magazine, whether you're an electrical contractor or not. And in it is this guy, this ugly mug. Looks something similar. Yeah, it's me. And I'm just going to go through it with you because I think it's really important, especially this time of the year, to address cash flow. You know, cash flow is one of the biggest things that causes contractors to really go out of business. It's the number one reason. It's the number one symptom, actually, that causes contractors to go out of business. And let me just talk about symptom. There's a difference between symptom and the problem. Okay, so the problems are what causes the symptoms. So it'd be the same analogy as, you know, somebody getting the flu or you getting the fever. It's not really the fever that is the problem. That's the symptom of what is actually causing the problem. So one of the main things we want to do is we want to identify these 7 areas to flag you, hopefully proactively. Maybe you're having cash flow issues right now, and especially for those that are in North America. You know, this tends to be the busy season. I mean, if we look out here, it's nice and green. You know, the phone's ringing off the hook. We got lots of work for most people out there, and we're busy. So the biggest threat of running into cash flow issues is actually when you're busy, right? And one of the main reasons you get cash flow issues is because the main fact, and we're going to get into these 7 signs, but is because the fact that, and a lot of people that try to help contractors don't get this, that the fact is that we as contractors, we got to pay for the material, we got to pay the tax man, we got to pay our guys, right? We got to pay the rent, any equipment. We got to pay. The last person to get paid is us. So if we don't get control of our cash flow, if we aren't proactive regarding it, then we're going to get those symptoms. We're going to feel that crunch of not having any money in the bank, of, you know, struggling to pay our bills. So let's get into these 7. I'm just going to go through this article. Great article. It's on page 28 again of the Electrical Business magazine. They've put us in here as one of the level up. I guess I don't know, people that put in these articles. That's us. I'm tongue tied for the name of it, but anyways, regardless. So number 1, you are scared. So the number 1 sign that you've got big cash flow issues is that you're scared to look at your bank account. Like, guys, if you're scared to look at your bank account, we got to make some changes. Okay, your bank account should be going up and up and up. There are points in growing your business where, you know, your bank account might not go up for a little period of time just because you're investing in the business and you're you know, spending money to try and grow the business, but it certainly should not be going down for an extended long period of time. And if it looks like a roller coaster, that's definitely a sign that you got cash flow issues. Number 2, you constantly shuffle money around from one supplier to the next. Look, this is no way to run your business. And I know it might be really challenging, but that's a symptom, right? That's a symptom that we don't have enough cash flow. See, when it comes to cash flow, literally that term cash flow is what we need in our business. We need the cash to be flowing through the business, in it and out of it, at such a rate that the delta between the two is greater as far as the money coming in than the money going out. It sounds really simple, but for a lot of contractors out there, if we don't manage it properly, then we're not going to be able to get that cash flow, and that cash gap between the money coming in and going out gets narrower and narrower. And when it crosses over, that's where we have a danger zone. So number 2 was you constantly shuffle money from one supplier to the next. Don't look at doing this. That's just a band-aid solution, okay? And I'm going to get to the 3 really key strategies to help you guys get over cash flow issues, okay? They're not the only ones, but they're pretty important. Number 3, no matter how much work you land, you're still broke. That's a prime indicator that you've got cash flow issues. You see, what should be happening, and this is what happens with a lot of contractors, that they think more sales means more cash flow. Well, if you're not certain that the jobs that you're doing are profitable, well, that's how you price them, how you run them, okay? The types of clients you have. We'll get into some of these other areas in a second. More sales does not mean more cash. More work does not mean more cash. You've got to be totally intentional, focusing in on cash with profit in mind, because if you're not profitable, you're not going to have cash. So you want to make sure that, if you're finding that no matter how much work you have, that you're basically still having major cash flow issues, guys, we got to address this today, okay? Number 4, you feel like a bank to your clients. Okay, I'm going to give a little extra strategy here out of the 3. But look, if you find that your clients are using it as a bank, they're probably using you as a bank, okay? And we are not in the business to be a bank. Now, I know banks make really good money, but that's not the business that we're in. So one of the key things, I'm just going to give you little tiny tips along the way, then I'll give you some big golden nugget strategies at the end. But one of the things you want to do is you want to filter really fast who's your Class A awesome clients, who's the guys that like respect you, love you, pay what you're worth, and give you Class A referrals, okay? Who's your Class B clients? They're basic. Who's the Class C? Can't deal with. And who's the Class D? Deadbeats. The C's and D's are basically thieves, and we got to filter fast with those guys. Number 5, you can't predict your cash flow. Look, there is a way to predict your cash flow. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit here, but you've got to be able to predict your cash flow. Now, it doesn't need to be exact. Prediction is never going to be exact, but at least it gives us a gauge of where we're going, okay? Again, anybody that's on here now, if you guys want to comment, that'd be great. I'd love to hear some of the things that you've done to prevent cash flow issues. But guys, you've got to be able to predict your cash flow based upon the amount of work that's coming in, that's been awarded, how much work has been quoted that you think you're going to win, and the future work that you've been awarded that you're going to be doing, but you're not doing it right now. The combination of those, and I'll get into some other strategies in a second, are some really good foundational pieces to forecast your cash flow. Next, number 6 is you can't pay your tax bill. Like, how many clients do I know that when we started out with them, all of a sudden one of the biggest areas of impact of their bank account being a roller coaster was the fact that they weren't putting money aside for their taxes. You've got to pay the tax man, okay? That's just the way it is. How you go about paying the tax man, is not really a good structure of how they've set it up, such that, every 3 months or every 4 months, you go and pay the tax man a certain chunk. In our case, in Canada, it's HST. Maybe it's a different term in different places in the world, but you got to pay the tax man. So what I propose you guys do when you look at this is back to predicting, have some sort of gauge of predicting how much tax you're going to be paying and put that aside on a monthly basis, okay? So that you're not getting caught into this jam whereby, oh my God, all of a sudden I got to put a $20,000 check in place to pay off the government, and now I'm screwed. I can't pay my guys, can't pay my suppliers. I can't even pay myself, which is the worst. Okay. Number 6, you can't pay your number 7. Okay, we just covered off number 6. Number 7, you pay yourself last, not first. Look, you are in business taking all the risks, major risks. There's a reason why 80% of businesses, even if it's 70%, 70 to 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, because it's a lot of risk. Now, there's a ton of gain. There's a ton of benefit. There's a ton of freedom. There's a ton of control. There's a ton of wealth that you can get if you put the right things in place. But at the same token, you've got to pay yourself first, guys. I know it might be difficult for some of you guys to get a grasp on this, but you've got to pay yourself first. Otherwise, why are you doing this? I'm not saying you got to pay yourself so much that the business is going to go under, but you got to take care of you first before you can take care of others, right? You heard the old analogy of when you're on a plane, and if the plane was about to crash or had problems, say there was fumes in the air. I know you love your kids and your wife or your spouse or what have you, and you'd want to tend to them first, but that's the worst thing you can do. You got to put the mask on yourself first. Otherwise, you're not going to be healthy enough or even awake, okay, depending upon the fumes and what have you, to take care of those other people. You got to take care of yourself first. And that factor, that mindset of paying yourself first, has got everything to do with how you factor in whether or not you're quoting profitably, whether or not you got enough cash flow, whether or not you're able to, have a healthy business, okay? If you don't factor in that you have to pay yourself, all the calculations that you do to determine, your profit margins, your targets, and things of that nature are going to be skewed because you're not taking into account all the necessary expenses. And one of them is paying yourself, okay? You're the most valuable person in the company. Make sure you treat yourself that way, okay? And start off even at small steps of a base salary that you're going to pay yourself. Tim Brown says, cheers. After 5 years in business, I think I've done all the bad things. Now it's time to start good habits. Way to go, Tim, my man. Habits, baby. These are habits. Absolutely. So Tim, let's make sure we got good habits. And one of the habits, Tim, is we got to pay for ourselves. I think I see, it's hard to see if that's a little boy in your arms. Yeah, it looks like it. It's really small on my phone. But man, we got to take care of ourselves so we can take care of our kids, right? Makes sense? Okay. So guys, make sure you pay yourself. Next steps. So let's talk about some of the core next steps. Okay, Tim, this goes out to you and everybody else. Love the comment. And keep them coming. Next steps. You've got to forecast your cash flow, guys. Okay. Oh, little girl. That's awesome. Love it. So look, we're running this business. We're running this business not just for ourselves, but for our family too, right? So we got to make sure that we address these issues. So first thing, guys, you got to forecast your cash flow. That's managing how much cash comes in, how much comes out. Don't overcomplicate it. Seriously, yes, we've at Prof for Contractors, our clients have really cool spreadsheet to manage this, but I don't give a crap if you got, a whiteboard that's managing money coming in and money going out. You've got to manage your cash flow, and that can only be done by predicting certain things. And here's some of the key things you got to include. I mentioned some of them, but not all of them. So we'll go over it again, okay? So one thing is you've got to manage the amount of cash going out when it comes to the work that's been awarded to you that you're doing right now, number one. Number two, you got to forecast the amount of expenses that's going to be coming out and money coming in because of the jobs that you've got and you're doing right now, but also the jobs that are coming up in the future, okay? It's not going to be perfect, but we're trying to get a gauge, okay? Next, and this is gold, you've got to track your quote to win ratio, guys. This is huge. I don't know any accountant or bookkeeper even talks about this stuff, and honest to God, they should, okay? I'm not trying to become an accountant or bookkeeper, but these are necessary business basics. Knowing your conversion rate tells you this. If I've got X number of quotes on my table, I can take a gander, a guess, a forecast of how much of that business I'm going to win. And then combine that with the work that's been awarded to us and the work that we're doing right now. And yes, it is a lot of data. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to bullshit you. It is. But that data is going to allow you to make amazing decisions, okay, regarding forecasting your cash flow to know whether or not you're in the green, the yellow, or the red. Now, in a week or two and a month or so down the road, if not even further, okay? So forecast your cash flow, strategy number one. Number two, ensure you quote profitably. Look, if you are not completely certain that you're quoting profitably, and comment in on the bottom of this video, if you want to get insights to ensure you're quoting profitably, just comment, like quote profitably or something. I want some more insights on that. Let us know. If you don't quote profitably, man, you are screwed before you even get on the field, okay? No matter how good your job is or how good the guys are or you are against, how much material you quoted, how much labor you quoted. If you're not including what's called your break-even margin, guys, you've got to, because you're not certain then you're quoting profitably. And again, if you don't quote profitably, it doesn't matter what work you win. You've already lost. You're guaranteed to lose a profit, okay? Last one, use an accounts receivable system. Look, part of your job to make sure you're not a bank is to make sure that you've got an accounts receivable system, okay, guys, so that you're getting your money off the street, so you're not a bank. And if you don't have a system, no offense, people are going to pay you when they want to pay you, and that might not be when you need them to pay you, okay? Set up good habits like Tim has mentioned here on all these fronts. If you want, guys, look at the article. I'm sure it's online, Electrical Business Magazine, and the article I wrote here right there is on page 28. And anyways, I'll see you guys on the flip side. Again, this is the Tradie Tip in your truck, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'd love you guys to give me some feedback, some strategies on what you've done to manage cash flow. If you want some more insights on ensuring you're quoting profitably, just type in more insights on quoting profitably or something along those lines, and we'll reach out to you. And that's it, man. So take care of yourself, take care of your cash flow, take care of your business. Don't run out of cash, because your cash is your gas when it comes to your business. And the sad part is, when you run out of cash and you go to the bank, they're not going to give you any more gas. Okay, they're not going to take care of you. I'm sorry. Typically the banks, and to a certain degree, rightfully so, but they're not going to be there for you when you absolutely need them. So you need to be there for yourself right now, so that you're not going to be in that position. Hey, Tim, you're welcome, my man. So yeah, I'd love more quoting insights, Tim says. Cool, man. So we'll get you some more quoting insights. And that's it. That is today's Tradie Tip in the truck. Catch you in the flip. Later, people. Ciao.